Hello, it's me again. Okay, it's time for exercise 7. Alright, I'm finally back. I finally figured out how to use my microphone. Alright, I lost it. No lah, I didn't lose it lah. It's not even, it's part of my computer. Alright, okay, so exercise 7 is file processing. Alright, where you have your famous shoes.txt. Let me open it up. Shoes.txt. Alright, with a bunch of names I made up. Okay, so the basics of file processing, alright, are pretty much that you have read line, alright, you have what else? Read lines. Okay, you have open, you have close. Okay, so I hope you all remember that because I'm going to get started. Alright, so this thing gives you, like the first part is just describing what it is, alright? And then you need to write the following functions. Okay, so I noticed that some of you in your submissions and from what I saw in class, alright, you didn't really follow some of the things that we asked for. Okay, here's what I mean. For example, this one says print all for DB file name. Alright, that means what happens is that your function should be print all, alright, DB file name, like this. It should have this exact function definition. Alright, and then do stuff. Return none. Alright, it should have this exact function definition and it should actually behave the way it's described in here. Okay, some of you didn't do that. Some of you actually did stuff like, okay, so what do I mean by it should behave the way it describes it? So this means that I need to actually say file equals to open, alright, db file name, comma, r. Alright, and then I do stuff with it and then I finally close. Alright, so let's say do stuff is here, f.close. Okay, so some of you didn't do it that way. Right, some of you, I'm not sure why. Right, maybe you just preferred it this way for this. Right, because you don't want to repeat, don't want to copy and paste your open. Some of you did it this way. You say db file name. Right, oh yeah, by the way you call this upper function is to say, let's say, print all shoes.txt. Right, shoes.txt. Okay, so this is correct. Above is correct. I win. Okay? Below is wrong. Alright. Below is wrong. Is wrong. You lose. Okay? So here's one way I saw. Alright. So from here people just say, oh, okay, db file name dot read, right, and then after that db file name dot close. Alright. I've written none is not necessary, but I left it there so it wouldn't complain. Okay? So, and then how do you use it? You say print all. No, before that you say f equals to open. Alright, shoes.txt r. Then you say print all f. Okay, this is not what we're asking for. Alright, this is not what we're asking for. Alright, so this is the file name. Alright, this is the file name. There, we say over here, in the above, db file name is a string with the file name. Okay? Don't make up your own definitions of what DB file names are, okay? If you saw in the latest problem set, alright, this is something that we did. We say something like DB file name, and then we do something like string, and then we do arrow. So if we might do an X if there's more than one type, and then we do an arrow that says what it returns, okay? So this means that this is the type of input that it expects, okay? So there's no confusion. This is the type of output. This is what it returns. Okay, in this case, none. Alright. Even more ridiculous wrong versions are, like this. Alright. Some people have print all DB file name. Okay, so and what you did was this. Alright. You actually did f equals to open shoes.txt r. Okay. And then over here you say, who cares about your DB file name, or you want to use f. Haha. Alright. It works, alright. It works. I'm glad you managed to test it such that it works, alright. But it's wrong because first of all, it no longer conforms to what we ask you to do, alright. Which means that when we grade your test, alright, of course we're going to be able to deduct marks, alright. In real life, it means that you're not following instructions. You are giving something that they don't expect. If someone asks you for a function, alright, they expect it to behave a certain way, and you give something completely different. Alright, their programs are going to break. Alright, so that's the importance of following instructions, alright, especially in computer science. Okay, so alright, back to this. Alright, so when we talk about this DB file name and all that, alright, let's actually pull up the answers. Alright, so this assignment, alright, is fairly straightforward. Alright, it says, you know, print all DB file name. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to open the file. Alright, I never mind this I equals 0, but for line in F, okay, so for line in F actually iterates through every single line in the file. You don't even need to use read or read line or read lines. Alright, this is the extra method, alright, that says F is something that is iterable, can be iterated through. Alright, so you say for line in F, alright, that means each round it goes through the for loop, alright, line will be something. So first time round, line goes through, it will be this. Second time round, line will be this. Third time will be this. Okay? So now the reason why I put I equals 0 here is because I want to skip the first line. Right? If I equals 0, if I not equal to 0, alright, if I equals 0, then we skip and we just increment by 1. Otherwise, alright, we will split it using the comma, alright, and print value 0 plus value 1 plus values. Oops, this should be 2. Alright, good. Okay, so that's what we have. So over here, at the bottom, I have all these things to actually test it. Alright, so I'm going to uncomment this one if I'm going to run this. Alright, and there you go. It's going to print out a whole bunch of stuff. Notice that it's actually printing the new line at the end. Okay, so how can you get rid of the new line at the end? So what happens is that values2 actually comes with a new line at the end. So what you can do, alright, is you can say, you can try getting rid of the new line, getting rid of any white spaces to the right of the new line. So let's try that. Okay, there you go. So this is something that's helpful. Some of you, if your file isn't formatted properly, let's say you have an extra line over here. Alright, if I save this, alright, if I run this, alright, it will run, and then you don't see it, but here at the bottom, alright, it will crash. Okay? I hope you know why. I will give you 2 seconds to think of why. Pause the video and think. Okay, you're back. The reason why is because when it tries to get to that line, alright, line, alright, is the empty space. So line is empty space. It will try and split it by the comma, and you get back just the empty space again. Alright, to prove this to you, I will open it up in the console. Alright, so let's say I have a, line equals to empty space. If I say line.split, comma, alright, then I get this this thing that looks like a robot face. Hello, robot face. So no, and then after that, right, that's still fine, right? You get that's values, right? Then you try value 0. Sure, we have value 0. Alright, so let's say values equals to line.split, comma. Value 0 is fine. But what happens when you do values 1? Alright, that's exactly what happens here. Alright, the list index is out of range. Alright, so in case you ever see this again, this is the list index. Alright, if something goes wrong, your list index is out of range, alright, then So in order to prevent this from happening, maybe one thing I can do is if length of values, alright, is greater than 1, alright, then I can print this. Alright, then this should not crash. Okay? Alright. So this is one way to, to kind of shock-proof your program, right? Prevent someone from doing nonsense to it. Someone meaning, me. Alright, so next, search by model. Alright, so this is also fairly straightforward. All you need to do is loop through every single line. Again, no reading or anything, right? Loop through every single line, do the splitting, alright. Check if the value 0 equals to model name, alright, then you can print it out. Alright, should be quite straightforward. In fact, this one you don't even need to do the check. Alright, I'll let you figure out why. Okay? So search by model, next one is search by size. Alright. Search by size, then yes, you do need to check whether it's an empty line or not. Okay? So all these search by model, search by size are very similar. Okay? I haven't uploaded the answers yet. Sorry, I will do that. I'll upload 5, 6, 7, 8, as many as I can afterwards. Okay, sorry. Next, add record. Okay, this is the one where I ask you to actually read everything, alright, and then add the new one to the end. Okay, so let's see what happens. You start by opening the file for reading. You read it all into a single string because I don't really care what used to be there. I just want it as a single string. Alright, then I add in the new stuff. Why do I add it to the front? I want to add it to the back. Okay, so I can say s equals to s plus model name, comma, string size, comma, string count, and a new line. Alright, so new line is this single character, alright, which is /n. Alright, it doesn't actually print /n, it prints a new line. Alright, then I close. Okay, so it opens it for reading. If I can close it first, and then I can do that. Right? In fact, I can close it first. Right? Open up the new file, out2.txt. I don't want to open the same file. Right? By right, this should be db file name as well. Okay. Then I adjust the string. I write the string to the file, and I close it. Then I print out a status. Okay. So in this case, let's see. Here we go. I have add record for unfound shoes, and I should print it after that. Okay. So. Alright, so it says added, and there you go, it's right at the bottom. Okay, so if I look at my text file, there we go. Wait, oh, need to reopen. Where's my shoes.txt? Aha, I found shoes, but because I added a space before. Oh well, whatever. Alright, then the last one is modify quantity. Modify quantity just requires you to search. When you find the appropriate thing, then make the changes. Okay, so there is a for loop and a if statement. Right, because you loop through everything. If the value matches, then you change it. Alright, but the model that I'm doing is I'm creating a new string. Alright, I'm creating a new string to output my stuff to. So starts off empty. Alright, it loops through the old string. Alright, loops through the old file. If the thing matches, then you change it. Alright. And then after that, regardless of whether it's changed or not, right, we want to add the values 1, 0, 1, and 2 back. So we add it back, and then we close. And then open it for writing. Again, I used out.txt to be safe. So this is one tactic. If you're afraid of, overwriting your file, right, then, use a separate file first, right? No need to be so silly and overwrite your wrong file, and then, I need to go and download again and everything. So, yeah. Alright, so that's it. So let me just show you modify quantity. Alright, it should change the Reebok 111 size 11 to, let's say, 10,000 items. Okay, so, wow, it crashed. Alright, listen next outrage. You know why? Because my shoes.txt didn't check properly. So let me just, this is a good chance for me to show you something. If length of values greater than, less than or equals to 1. Alright. Then I will try continue. Let's see if that works. I'm not sure. I don't know Python. I told you before. Okay. So what this does is that if it's the wrong length, alright, I will skip the rest of this loop. Alright, just like continue does. Right, you don't need to know that. But you can do it the other way around. You can say if length greater than 1, then you indent all this. This is another way of doing it. Alright, you say if the length of the thing is greater than 1, alright, then you move this, then you move this, then you move this. Okay, so if it's greater than 1, then we do all this stuff. Okay, so let's check our shoes.txt. Alright, there must be one that is 10,000. There you go. This guy is now 10,000. Alright, success. Okay, 13 minutes. Let me stop for this. Let's continue. Whatever, guys. Let's carry on. Okay, next is to process the Alice in Wonderland. Alright, so if you download it, you should pick up this alice.txt, which you can read. If you during the practical test, if you get very bored, just open this up and take a read lah. Alright, good use of your time. Okay, so again, it gives you 3 functions you need to write. Process file, right? File name, right? Which means this takes a file name, alright, a string, and it returns you a dictionary. Alright, the dictionary, we need to define how the dictionary looks. So we define a dictionary with each word as a key and each frequency as a value. Okay, I think I have people showing up, so I'm going to stop this now and continue in the next video. Hello, I'm back. Okay, this is actually like a few hours later, but I'm finally done with whatever was bothering me. Okay, so anyway, yes, Alice Adventures Wonderland, this is what you should do. You should read the text file, look through the words, etc, etc. Okay, so it actually gives you everything that you need to do, alright, to essentially, what this is called is tokenizing the text. Okay, it's taking the text, which I will open up again once I find, it's taking the text and then it's making it into little tokens. Okay, so alright, let's open it up and see. Okay, so what I've done is okay, so actually there are 3 files. Okay, so I followed the instructions. Okay, process file, total words, and different words. Okay, my hint to you is that Actually, if a question ever asks you, oh, process the file and then do something with it, frankly, these functions, alright, should behave on other histograms. Okay, so if you can't do the process file one, by all means try and do the others, assuming you have a histogram that works. Okay, so that's one way to try and not get stuck on questions. Alright, so I remember in the practical test, some of you were stuck on, you couldn't even do the first part of the image question, so you couldn't do the last part. Right now, if you see anything that's in parts, alright, I believe each of the parts should be doable on their own, so don't give up. Alright, so anyway, process file. Okay, so you see it tells you that you can't use split. Alright, so you actually need to look through the things. Alright, look through string.whitespace, string.punctuation. Alright, I've been through this, but I'll just do it again. If you import string, alright, string comes with some keywords. Alright, this is a string with all kinds of punctuation in it. Oh, look, a smiley face. Alright, okay, and what you can do is, let's say car equals to exclamation mark, alright, and then if car in string.punctuation, alright, then you can print yay, alright, and because car, right, as you know, works differently whether after you have it a for and after you have it an if. Okay, so in this case, if car is in this string, alright, you just read it. If car is in this string, then I'll print this. Okay, so let's see. Alright, so here we go. Process file. Alright, so we start by opening it, alright, and we actually read all the characters at once. Alright, we don't really care about line by line in this case, so we use read. We read every single thing at once. Alright, I create an empty histogram. Alright, and what I do is I construct it word by word. Alright, so notice in my for loop, alright, I loop through every single cars. Okay, so cars currently looks like, Alice. Oops, Alice is something something. Alright, so for car in cars means that, alright, for car in cars, print car, alright, what it means is that it will look through each of them one by one by one by one. Okay, so we're looking through the letter by letter, right? We look at the letter. If the letter is not in white space and not in punctuation, alright, then we will append it to the word. Okay? Otherwise, alright, otherwise you have reached. So what happens is that, ALICE, right? That was the if. Else is reach this, alright. We don't do anything with it, alright. We lowercase it. We check if it's in the histogram, right? Using the get method, alright. Again, get method. Okay, so let me see. Histogram, alright, let's say histogram equals to this, alright. If I say histogram A, Alice, oops, my mouse. If I say histogram Alice, alright, it will give me an error. If I say, however, histogram.get Alice, 0, it will give me 0 because this is a value that it returns if it cannot find Alice as a key. Alright, so if histogram.getWord 0 equals to 0, it's not inside, we will set it up with a single occurrence, otherwise we will increment it. And then we will reset the word. Alright, this resets the word for the next one. Alright, so by the time we're done with all this, okay, we have essentially added a whole bunch of words to our histogram. Alright, and each time we encounter the word, we will check, does it exist? If it doesn't, okay, now it exists with a count of 1. If it does, alright, we just increment the count. And that's it. Alright, that's the entire histogram. Alright, I've seen some of your solutions, they are long and convoluted. That's all you really need, alright, but yeah, there's a nested, there's a if, and there's a else, alright, there's stuff you need to do. Okay? After that, I think the rest should be fairly simple. The total number of words inside the file, alright, you just count through. Okay? You count through each of the values. Alright, because let's say the file says you have 500 Alices and okay, let's say histogram is equals to Alice 500 times and cow 200 times. Alright, it's a very boring story consisting of the words Alice and cow. Alright, if you want the total number, then you just take 500 plus 700, and that's what this loop is doing on a bigger scale, of course. Right, on a bigger scale, this loop is saying for every single key, alright, add the value into the total and return it. Alright, and the number of different words is just the length of the histogram. Right, in this case there are 2 different words, and the length of the histogram, then histogram is just 2. Okay, that's it. That's all. Alright, 5 minutes only. Whee! Oh, I mentioned that I would show you my comic, so hang on a second. Let me pull up my Safari. Oops. Okay. This is my comic, chicochoco.com. Alright. It's But you might not know this, but I have I draw stuff. All right. This is a comic that I did with my friend. We were both in your situation, like maybe like many years ago, and we've always thought about working together. So yeah, this is it. All right. We recently started, so it's only episode 4. All right. So follow us, like us, whatever it is people are supposed to do. Okay, that's all. Bye bye.